Okay, before we get started, I know the title said 3 tips to maintain your confidence. I'm going to give you that. But today is a special day. Today marks 1 year. You can check the social medias for the old promos I was posting. But today marks 1 year since I started this podcast. Now, unfortunately, the videos didn't come to about episode 33. So that's as far back as you go on YouTube. But WhoGotTheAux has the full audio episodes. I started February 7th last year was my first comeback episode after stepping back for a while to figure it out. So actually, don't I still have a round of applause on here? Nope. That's how I imagine everyone is clapping for me right now with this good news. But I'm excited. Plan to do more this year. Plan to get more creative, more content. All that's coming. But yeah, just accomplishment. And I suggest if you're an up and coming content creator as well, celebrate your small wins. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So this is my 1 year anniversary. So I thought, what perfect episode to talk about things to maintain confidence, because I feel like on the road of up and coming and growing, you have to maintain your confidence, which is not an easy thing to do. Even confident people, we talk in front of the camera, we maintain confidence, but there's something about putting your blood, sweat, and tears into something, putting it onto a platform and watching it flop consistently. And when I say flop, I'm using this term in the grand scheme of things, and I'll break that down more. Not flop like it sucks overall. It's just you haven't went viral yet, basically, right? Because that's what we all trying to do, right? We're trying to go viral, we're trying to get big numbers, make big money, right? So you have to maintain your confidence throughout. And me going through this 1 year of consistent posting, the confidence wavered a few times. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and act like, at the end of the day, I know what I do is good and great, and I have confidence in what I do, but that's still, we're still human at the end of the day. So happy anniversary to me. But let's give you what you came for, right? 3 guaranteed behaviors for unstoppable confidence while creating content. The first one is you have to have a short-term memory / celebrate the small wins. Short-term memory. If you played athletics, you hear your coaches say that all the time, right? You make a bad play, you don't have time to dwell on it. You got to get back to it and make a great play the next play. Same thing applies when making this content. Like I said in the beginning, you put out your best stuff, your best podcast, your best artwork, and it probably is great. Just you're fighting things like an algorithm, you're fighting things like other celebrities, and you've been unknown. It doesn't do well. You might get 2 likes, right? So when I said flop and celebrating your small wins, 2 likes is a small win, but you get to a point where you're putting the work in, you're doing the research, you're doing all the things that people say, and it's still not hitting. That can be where your confidence waver. That can be where you start second guessing yourself. That could be where you feel like you need to pivot and do something else. And while that may be the case, you just got to keep going. You have to keep going, but you have to have short-term memory, meaning you can't dwell on that. You cannot dwell on, man, I know this video. I know this song was hot. I know this video. I know what I put out is fire. It is. It really is. Or it probably is, it probably isn't. 9 times out of 10 it is, but that's, the cards weren't in your favor at that time, whatever the phrase is, right? You just got to keep going. You got to make another one and then try to get 10 likes, small wins. Make another one, try to get 20 likes, small wins. Make another one, 30, 40. And then you can get to a point where I've done this throughout this journey. You've done a certain way of doing things, a certain way of promoting, certain way of releasing, certain graphics. And you can, if you pay attention to your numbers, you'll see it plateau after a while. You'll be like, okay, I'm getting a consistent 20, 30, which is great, but I want more. So what can I tweak to get more? And then you go, and that's how you build it. That's how you continue. But you have to have a short-term memory, and you have to celebrate your small wins. If you just go and try to not say nothing until you get 1 million followers and 1 million likes, then you're just going to ignore all the progress that you're actually making, and it's going to feel like you're not doing anything. So celebrate your small wins. Have short-term memory. Going on with that, patience. Patience is key. Patience is everything. It goes hand in hand with the short-term memory. You got to be patient. For me, I put this plan in a 3-year plan, right? Started last year. Last year was the discovery, figuring out what works, figuring out what I'm comfortable with, figuring out composition, angles, figuring out what type of content I want to give, how long my podcast should be, how short my podcast should be, all that stuff. And I was growing at the same time, which was great. This year, I figured out everything I wanted to do for up until this point, right? I have a system, I have a schedule, I have templates, I have everything how I want to create it. So this year, I plan to really double up, triple up on everything. More followers, more subscribers, more likes, more views, more everything, right? And then by the third year, that's where I plan for life-changing things to happen. I put a 3-year plan in place. Third year is where I project for like those life-changing, brand deals or notoriety or all that. I plan for that in the third year, which is next year. But you got to put yourself, you got to have patience. You got to understand that, yeah, while some people, it can happen overnight, even if someone, and I'll give you an example because I've seen it, someone can go viral off their first post, right? They didn't follow any of the rules, any of the 8 o'clock, the thumbnails, the hooks. They didn't do any of that. They just posted and went viral. And maybe they did a couple of videos, but after a while, for longevity, for a career, for something you can retire on, you got to have some type of business model. You got to have some type of presentation of what you're going to do, or you're just going to get burnt out. And I've seen a lot of people do that. A lot of people went viral this time last year on TikTok when I first joined, and they off a dance. And then I kind of went back because I wanted to see. I was studying them. Like, okay, they went viral around the same time I started. Like, I saw them go from regular to viral. Let me see what they did with it. They did nothing with it. They're still trying to dance right now, but it's like, what is that going to do? They're still dancing at their job a year later. Like, I mean, they have more likes than me and more followers, but you know what I'm saying? So you have to have patience. You got to be patient. And I know that's easier said than done. All these things I'm telling you is easier said than done, but it ties into the third one. And the third one, it might disappoint some people because it's not a formula. It's not something you can read up on. It's not something that if you do this and this will happen, right? It's a mindset. It's a belief. You have to want it. You have to be passionate. This is what you have to want, not what you're doing to try to make money or to go viral real quick. I did that rapping and I realized rapping wasn't my passion and I stopped rapping, right? You have to want this. Because of the first two things I said. You cannot be patient and you cannot have short-term memory if you're not doing something that you're passionate and that you want. Because if it's not something you want, it's easy for you to go, man, what I'm dealing with this for? Why am I putting this much time in this if I'm not getting likes? I go do something else, which is fine. But that means that this isn't what you actually want. For you to do a 3-year plan, for you to keep chugging along 1 year after another without having that big thing happen. But you have a vision, you have belief, you have patience, you have short-term memory. You have to want it. And I've made this in a few videos. I'll tag them if I can find them. But if it's one thing I've learned on this journey, on this 1 year consistent journey, and the reason why I specify this journey, because I've rapped consistently. I've made beats and I did a podcast before this, but I've never put in the type of attention to detail, effort, and work ethic that I have in this 1 year span. And that's with anything I've ever done. I've never worked harder, more consistent, more disciplined with this. So that's why I'm giving tips from this experience. And what I can tell you is the step I took before I told this story, I'll tell the short version, was before I had a podcast before this. We had 150 plus episodes, went through the pandemic. Everything was great, but it just fell apart. But I told myself after that I'm not going to jump back in front of people's faces. I'm not going to get back online and grind until I figure out actually what I want to do. And that was tough. That's a tough thing. When I'm telling you to be passionate, to figure out what you want, that's hard. But that's the hardest part, believe it or not. Creating this content isn't hard because I know this is what I want to do. You see what I'm saying? So you got to figure out what is it you want to do. Then when you figure out what you want to do, I figured that, I knew I wanted to speak and have a voice, right? That's where the rapping came from, but I didn't want to rap. But I knew, the podcast I knew that lane. I knew I wanted to talk. I knew I had a lot to say and a lot to offer, right? So we started there. Then I took that whole year figuring out how I wanted to present this information. And now I kind of have a system. You see what I'm saying? So the hardest part before you start is figuring out if this is what you want to do. And, most people ask themselves, would you do this if you weren't getting paid? Would you do this? That's usually the question people ask to figure out if you're passionate about it. And I don't think that's it. See, because, you can do a lot of stuff for free for a limited period of time. See, to do this, it's to do it forever and as long as you're growing, right? The question you need to ask yourself is, would you do this in spite of going out? Would you do this in spite of hanging out with your friends? Would you do this in spite of your numbers not going crazy, but it takes a lot out of you to put this out and put yourself out in Front Street? Would you do this knowing that people are going to disagree, or your adults or elders are going to see it, so they're going to, I talk about sex and would you do it in spite of all of that? Plus the not getting paid. But those are the other things that you don't know about until you're doing this. Like, oh, my grandmother's going to say, oh, my in-laws are, oh, somebody don't agree with my opinion. They're calling me out my name. Oh, I can't go. Would you do it in spite of all that? Are you ready for that to come? For family members to not support, or family members get jealous, or show some type of envy or talk crap? Are you ready for all that? Because that was my first year. But I was here with it because this is what I want. So figure out what you want to do, right? What you want to do. And that's very important, what you want to do. And I'm saying you, and I'm repeating it because we go through this process and we start thinking about our dreams, but they're attached to other things. Like, well, I want to do this, but someone would judge me. Or I want to do this, but I'm a father or a mother. Or I want to do this, but I'm no. It's your brain. It's your secret. So even if you have to go somewhere, and I'll use this example because this is the main example. Let's say you wanted to start an OnlyFans, right? And you wanted to do it. You see all these people fucking and doing all type of stuff, making millions of dollars, right? Obviously, you're going to go, I would do that, but I'm married, or I'm in a relationship, or I'm a woman, or my family, or I'm a man, my cousin, and then all that, right? That's an example. If you're passionate about it, go for it. I'm not judging you, right? But my point is, that's what I'm saying, get rid of, that all that attachment stuff. So think about something you want to do, and think about if no one else can say anything, do anything, or judge you, you could do it in secrecy. What would that be? I'm not saying that's what you're going to run with, but it unlocks your brain to see what you really want. Then you can kind of gauge it to where it's like, okay, I'm not going to go rogue on my family or whatever. So I still want them to accept me and respect me. So I could do this, but in this way. This way I could do it and nobody will know. Or I could do it this way and nobody will judge me. You see what I'm saying? But you got to unlock it first. And as long as you're allowing outside forces to hamper it down, it never opens up. So you have to unlock it first. Unlock it, whatever it is. Then figure out how you can do it if you care what people think, and if you want to maintain relationships, or if you're one of those people that don't give a shit, just go for it. But figure that out. Can't put any more emphasis on that. So yes, happy 1 year to me. Thank you for listening, subscribing, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. More content coming. Before I get out of here, I actually wanted to not really discuss, but I see everybody going crazy over the Grammys. I don't understand, because every year, it seems like a black musician gets slighted, one of our bigger ones, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Chris Brown, you name it, right? And every year we have everybody on the black social media like, we ain't supporting it, and blah, blah, blah. They always slighting us and da-da-da-da. But I'm like, in order to be nominated for a Grammy, you have to submit music. So I don't understand these artists that when they get slighted, Nicki and all them, F the Grammy, blah, 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 but then they're submitting to win the next year, right? Just be honest with yourselves. You want the award, and then you get mad when you lose. It's cool. But I only brought that up because I was like, I was a award show watcher growing up. Grammys, Oscars, you name it. American music. I just love host. I love when they got a comedian host and they did their bits, and then when they host in between. I love musical performance. I did. And then I just fell off, and I fell off watching it just, maybe because I got older, or you kind of realize that it's just like a, payment for participation type of thing. But I definitely stopped watching the Grammys when Macklemore won Best Rap Album over Good Kid, Mad City. That was kind of like that. Like, I'm still surprised people are coming back to watch, support, or be like Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick Lamar. One of probably his best albums he put out. Maybe the mixtape he put out before that. I was going to say 1080, probably after Section 80. Section 80 was probably one of his greatest albums of all time. Even during that time, people felt like this is an amazing album. It's not like later. And to lose to I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20, bro. When I saw that, I was like, okay. Mind you, it was slights before that and happened before, and this Grammys have always been on their thing. When I saw him give Macklemore Best Rap Album over Good Kid, Matt, that was it for me. So that's it. If you're frustrated that Beyonce didn't win or Jay, stop watching. Stop watching. The artists need to stop submitting their music and just leave it alone. Let them have it, bro. But again, like every advice, easier said than done. That is all I have for this episode. Again, thank you for joining me on my 1-year anniversary episode. Look to have plenty more. I don't even know what number it is. I don't even care to keep up with that. But WhoGotTheAux.com, full audio episodes. WhoGotTheAux, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhoGotTheAux_, Twitter. Subscribe, follow, like, share. Do all that cool stuff. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all at the next episode. Peace.